I'm a Medium, Ask Me How was not filmed in front of a live studio audience. We best friends, but we love talking about dead people. We're gonna laugh and we'll cry. Well, Dana's gonna cry a little bit.
We got love bombs all over the place. And let's not act like Matt isn't gonna cry a little bit. But we're also gonna cuss. So if that doesn't resonate, turn the fuck around.
Yeah, we're gonna drop some fuck bombs.
But we also want to share our experiences and knowledge about mediumship.
So sit down, get comfortable, and remember,
you are the light of 100,000 suns. You are the light.
And enjoy.
I'm a medium, so ask me how.
Dana Willey.
Matthew Tao.
I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've recorded. It's been a while. I think Logan IT is starting to clank his little metal chain against his bars. We'll work
Feed
for food.
Feed me. Send me more episodes.
I'm so glad we're back, and it's so nice to see you. And I think that we've had a lot of things to celebrate over the past couple of weeks and a lot of things to pat ourselves in the back. But first I want to say thank you to all of our listeners. You all just literally make us so happy to continue doing this for you. And we're just doing what we know best, is just being fucking friends. We're weird.
And just having the conversations that we normally have and all of that. But really, guys, we cannot thank you enough for the support. Mm-hmm. We've gotten so many of you rating the podcast on Apple or Spotify and writing comments and reviews, and going on YouTube and writing reviews. And then when we're on TikTok Live or writing in comments, really, really, really cannot say enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It goes back to the why of why we decided to even start this silly little thing, this silly little podcast, Matthew.
Why is your why? Why ask why? Why do the things we do? That's such an awesome question, because I think a lot of the times when we get started on something, we should have a really good why. We should have a really good why of why we're doing it, or what's the point, right? Mm-hmm. Dana, can you go into a little bit about what is your why of why you do mediumship?
It has to be because, well, the first thing for me was it's what I've been pulled to do. It brings me a lot of fulfillment and joy to bring that connection. And to know that I've brought that connection, that healing, that proof of continuation of spirit, that understanding. I feel that part of it is also better understanding the world around me. As because I feel as though my why around mediumship isn't just myself being the practitioner of being the medium, but also understanding myself more and furthering my development as a medium and understanding the spiritual world around me, the earth around me, people around me, and myself, and just being true to why I want to do this is to just bring that connection and healing.
Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful why. That's a beautiful why. And it's easy to remember, right? I mean, you did spit out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but I have a lot of reasons why.
I think it comes back to you just being the best that you can for others. Right? That's your why.
What's your why?
Mine is just, oh Jesus. Do you have 20, do you have 2 hours? My why is really around helping people. Because I've done a lot of things in my life that have not been for myself. And I haven't really, and I can admit, before mediumship, I was not a very think about others person. I was so self-absorbed. And I did a lot of things to not intentionally hurt people, but I did things because I just did not think about other people. And when I had gone into my development, It gave me an opportunity to do something that was bigger than myself. And it was bigger than me, and it wasn't about me. It was about watching, you know how like they always say like giving a gift is better than receiving a gift?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it sounds so fucking corny when you say it. You're like, I didn't want this sweater. Well, fucker, the person gave it to you, put a lot of thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
But with mediumship, it's you're doing something that is bigger than you and giving somebody something that they can never get from somebody else, and not to be a participant in it, but just to deliver it is really like epic. And it just watches, like I just watch the power of the spirit world, and I'm just in awe of it, and it is bigger than me, and it will always be bigger than me, and it will never consume me of me saying I have the only control over it. But that's really my why. And I think also another why that I do it is for the people that are vulnerable, the vulnerable people. And that is a lot of the reason why, like, I am so staunch and rigid with my ethics, is because I feel like if I'm firm and consistent in this, it will give somebody a place to go where they feel safe of being like, that's the fucking standard. That is the standard that we want to look for. So I try to be a better person every single day by being consistent with my message and my why around protecting vulnerable people, protecting people that have been that have lost somebody. Really super important. And I think grief does things to people, and it warps our mind, and it warps our perspective on the world, and it's easier to be taken advantage of when you're in a state of grief or hurt than it is when you're actually thinking, right? So it's easy for fraudulent mediumship and fraudulent psychic work and fraudulent tarot work to come in and swoop in on those people. And I just want to protect them as much as I possibly can of being like, no. So I just try to stay true to that why.
I love that. It's good to check in with our why too. And it's okay for our why to change, but, we often talk about ego a lot especially in mediumship, because it's when our ego gets overwhelmed, sometimes we can be doing this for clout, or look at me, or aren't I great because I did this, right?
Yep.
But when our ego gets underinflated, then imposter syndrome comes in, and then there's a lot of different things. But I think of whenever our ego gets overinflated or underinflated, a good way of rebalancing that is kind of returning to our why. Of why do we do the things that we do? Why are we so invested in this whole thing?
So why do you think people's egos get overinflated?
I think I'm going to say it, I think it's easy for egos to get overinflated in doing this work, because a lot of people will put you on a pedestal, and a lot of people will think that you have access to something they don't have access to, because you have access to the intangible. And people come to you unfortunately, and this is how people get taken advantage of, but sometimes people come to you in very desperate need, and then there becomes a power dynamic there. And whenever there's a power dynamic, it's like ego's like, come here, I'll come in,
I got you.
And then, again, there's nothing wrong with charging for readings or anything like that, because I charge, so I'm definitely not going to shame on anything like that. But also introducing money into something can bring ego into it. So there is at every turn opportunity for ego to take the wheel in this.
There seems like there's a lot more factors of like the ego swing towards like the overinflated than there are the under. And I think, or maybe I'm just seeing it as like the overinflated could also be underinflated as well.
I was going to say it's the overcompensation.
Overcompensation, right? But like what I always find with a lot of developing or even established mediums when the ego gets really big is that they don't want to lose that pedestal. They don't want to lose that special feeling. And so they'll like hold on to it, and they'll get really aggressive. So they'll be like, you need to take all this information and everything that I'm saying that's coming out of my mouth is 100% correct, and nobody else can do what I can do because I am a phenomenal medium. And it's nobody in the, and I question, is there anybody in their life that's holding them accountable? Right? So I'm very fortunate with my friend group that they'll tell me when they're like, hey, like that comes off really egoic, or one of my friends will be like, hey, it's not a competition, or hey, it's like, why are you wording it that way? Or they'll question me just so I can be like, not that they want an answer, but the fact that they want me to have like a pause moment. Because it is very easily slipped into where we got to go back to our why, right? Even when we're having our low moments, like there's days that I beat myself up and I walk away from readings and I'm like, I just made all that shit up. There's no way that I could have known any of that, but I'm just so harsh on myself. And then you want to give up because you're like, spirits abandoned me. They never have abandoned you, but it's your ego and just having to realign with your why. So what do you do when you're your ego's overinflated? What do you do?
It's acts of service, I think, sometimes can be really helpful in balancing. Grounding, getting back to things that
you're grounded.
Go back to listening to that episode, You're Grounded. It's that self-awareness thing. And I think, and I'm not joking, like I think there is a part of that where we have to remain grounded and understand that we don't know everything. And, I think it's important to celebrate our wins or our good readings, but not overly celebrate or not overly kick ourselves over our not so great readings, right? So being a balanced reader. The other thing that I want to say about the why is that, when we're stepping into this, whatever level you are in your mediumship journey, it's really hard to be a medium. Because whether you're just starting out and you're like, oh crap, I'm going to go to development circle for the first time. And I'm going to get really vulnerable and like do something way out of my comfort zone. Or just, I will tell you, as somebody who goes TikTok live all the time and does, these live readings, every time I press that like go button, I'm like, well, shit, here we go. This is uncomfortable.
I hate hitting that button. I hate it. I hate it so much. Especially when I'm like, hey, Dana, you want to go live? And you're like, I'll cheer from the chat. Like, no. It's a safety net. You're a safety net. And it's scary. It's scary because you have you get more people in your room than I do. But it's a lot of people staring at you. And they sometimes are not watching you to cheer you on. They're watching because they want to watch you fail. And being okay with being wrong is part of like balancing your ego, of being like, I'm okay with giving you this wild ass shit because I know that it's not good. It has a possibility of not being accurate. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. Because I think that's part of like accepting your ego, is just being okay with no.
Right. And I think being clear in our why, and again, knowing that our why can shift and change and whatever, but being clear in our why will help us a lot of times get the guts to press that button, to go to that development circle, to step out of our comfort zone. And of course, we're speaking specifically to mediumship because, well, I'm a medium, ask me how. It's in the frickin' title, people. No.
you mean this isn't I'm a plumber, ask me how?
Wrong podcast.
Damn, I was gonna lay some pipe. I don't know.
Different podcast. But I think honestly, being clear in your why helps give you the guts you need sometimes to take that leap. It helps conquer those fears, or really face up to those fears, and do the really uncomfortable thing. So being clear in that, or when you do have a rough reading, to return back to like, this is why I do this. Because again, I want to reiterate and say it loud for the people in the back. Every single reading is very different, and some will be home runs, and there will be some where you fall flat on your face, and it is uncomfortable.
Hey, Dana, do you remember that time I think this
At
was right
band camp?
before. Yeah, yeah, with the flute. Do you really at band camp? Really, girl? I was gonna say before I was so rudely interrupted with the band camp comic, because that's exactly where my mind went with the flute. Was the time that I think we were promoting our event and we were on a live. And we were like, okay, I have the spirit. You're like, yep, I got the spirit too. And we were given that reading and nothing landed. And I'm only laughing because it's like, if you could fucking hear crickets during that reading, you would have heard crickets.
Yep.
And we were like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and we're promoting our event. But here's the thing, like, it happens.
That could crush somebody. And that could crush a lot of people.
Let me ask you an honest question. Were you devastated by that?
No.
Me neither.
No. I was like, well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. I was like, that sucked. Let's move on.
But it was fun. I still have fun with spirit because here's the deal. You got to be okay with having all that information and just maybe having that spirit sit in your waiting room until it's like maybe the proper time, or maybe that person could have bounced. There's so many fucking factors with mediumship that doesn't make it like a perfect reading. That person could have bounced out of your room. There's so much.
I know this happened for you recently, where, you're like, here's the evidence. Nope. And then the next day you get, yep. I talked to so-and-so and it's yep.
Oh.
So we can feel like we fall on our ass in the middle of the reading, and then we find out 2 days later, no, actually everything you said was spot on because I talked to my Aunt Martha
So-and-so.
about it. So we don't know, but it's that being uncomfortable, and it's being like that comfortable. Actually, it's being comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So where did you learn that from? Like, where did you learn being okay with being wrong?
Well, first off, it's the surrender, which was a real bitch for this Virgo to learn, man. And I'm still working on it. But it really...
No. Not at all.
I'm just let it flow. Whatever happens, happens. We don't need to plan anything.
No, not at all. I don't know what you're talking about at next 2:00 next Sunday. I have no idea. That's the beauty of you. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, but it really was. It was something for me of just like surrendering. Surrendering was a big part for me of just letting whatever happens. It's development and getting enough miles and reading underneath my feet where I knew that, like, maybe it's not landing right now, but it's going to land later.
100%.
And you don't know that when you're just starting. You don't know that. You think that because you had a day of bad readings that, oh, I'm broken, I'm not an actual medium, and I should stop now. You don't understand that it gets better.
Real. That is fucking real. If you have a really bad day of readings, it will beat you up relentlessly. But I think it's like spirit will do that to you on purpose. Because they're like, ooh, you're getting too big for your britches there, sir. We need to knock you back down a peg. And going in with expectation. Because I think when we go in saying like, I'm awesome, I'm so fucking great.
I love Matt's singles.
Thank you. It'll be available on iTunes. I think when we do that, we set up an expectation, and spirit likes to pull the rug out from underneath us because not everyone's the same. Think about like communicating in real life, right? Can you have the same conversation? I can't have the same conversation I can with you as I could with Hannah, as I could with anybody on TikTok or anybody in real life at my other job. And I think we need to realize that the people that are in the spirit world, because I still call them people. I hate the word spirits. I'm starting to dislike it. The people on the other side are still people, and they still have different personalities and different traits and different characteristics about themselves that it's not going to be consecutively the same every single time. And I think that when we go in expecting to have the same conversations every single time, it's not how it works. And then you'll fall flat on your face, and then your imposter syndrome will creep in, or you walk in and you ace every single reading and you're like on this rocket high of being like, yeah, your next one's going to fail because then you're going in with expectation. Falling right on your face. Boom. You're done. I think just kind of being humble.
Yeah. You have to stay humble. You have to stay humble. And again, that comes into balancing your ego, right? But it also comes in, you said something and it brought up the topic of comparison for me. Because comparison is, oh my God, is the thief of joy, right? Like it is like, will mess with you. And just like you can't compare one reading to the next or one situation, like one reading day to the next, you can't compare yourself to another reader. And I think that happens a lot too. And again, getting clear in your why. Why am I doing this? Because as soon as you start comparing yourself to somebody, that's your ego talking. One of the most beautiful things, and I think we've touched on it before, but one of the most beautiful things is watching another reader read. Obviously Matt and I come together on a lot of things because we align in ethical and just we like teaching very similarly and whatever, but we read differently. He's very clairvoyant. I'm more clairsentient, like we read very differently. The experience as a sitter that you're going to get from each one of us is going to be different because we're different, and that is beautiful. So for me to look at Matt and be like, I'm not good enough because he does XYZ is not helpful for me as a medium.
And you know what? I call you the rifle of mediumship.
Why is that?
Because you hit him where it hurts. You hit him right in the heart. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just the Uzi. I'm just like,
evidence.
Do you know what I mean? But it's still, and there's a really bad analogy, but it's still a gun. Doesn't mean it's less powerful than the other one. It's just different uses. And Spirit knows how to use each medium differently. They know that they can go to Dana if they need a heartfelt message, right? If they need to have that message poured into Dana of being like, you're going to deliver this and you're going to deliver this where you're going to move somebody, they're going to go to you. If they want more of like, hey, this person's skeptical, they're really suspicious of the afterlife, they're going to come to me because I'm going to provide a lot of evidence, right? And that's what I'm known for. And I'm okay with that. And that's fine because I don't need to be you. I don't need to be you. But here's the deal. I can look at you and say that's possible. I won't limit myself and being like, well, Dana's better than me. No, I want what Dana has. I'm going to work towards what Dana has. Yeah. And it is possible. So when people compare us a lot, and we get a lot of comparison as well from the general public of being like, oh, you're like Tyler Henry, or oh, you're like John Edward. I'm like, whoa there, sir. I'm Matthew, but Tyler's possible. His level of ability is possible. And I never look at him and being like, well, why am I not on TV? And like you have some bitter Bettys that do that. And they're only hurting themselves by doing that. They're only robbing themselves of joy. It's a stealer of joy. Thief.
Well, and knowing that there's something also, and this is a little off topic, but being exactly where you are is exactly where you need to be. And knowing that like you are being utilized by Spirit in exactly the way that you need to be. And you simply showing up is exactly what you need to be doing. And being in the right place when they tell you to show up is what you need to be doing. That's it.
I just keep hearing, and I heard every beautiful word you just said, but I keep hearing that Olive Garden thing where it's like when you hear your family, but it really is kind of true, right? When you're here, you're in the moment, and that's where you're supposed to be. It's exactly where you're supposed to be. And being okay with not being at the finish line. A lot of wise always want to rush to the finish line, but never look at the journey ahead. You know what? Slamming my hand on the table. The best part of being a medium was my fucking development. I loved every single second of my development. I would have never skipped or taken back a single penny, minute, or anything because you learn so much that humbles you in a development circle or in a developmental class or a mentorship. You learn so much. And I think that's where I got really humbled and like kind of found my why is because I was surrounding myself with these you surround yourself with exceptional mediums. exceptional by showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a lot of people just racing to the finish line to be like, oh, I took 3 classes. I'm going to go read on TikTok Live. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Simmer down there.
Hold up. Wait up. Yep.
What are your thoughts about like your development?
I wish I would have enjoyed the process more. I think development can be a confusing time, of like, what am I doing? What am I even doing here? Like, what's even going on? And then there's the self-doubt, and we talk about the ego, and then there's comparison and all of that going on during development time. But I would have loved to enjoy that a little bit, which has, I think, knowing that, I enjoy where I'm at a whole lot more because I can, it's like I have the foresight right now to understand that like a year from now, I'm going to look back on this moment and be like, holy shit, look how far I've come from this, from where I was right now. So enjoying where I'm at right now and enjoying the journey and not the finish line. Even in creating, and I talked to you about this not too long, bringing in a little bit of our own private conversation, but in creating this podcast, Matt and I have been, there's an excitement about creating something and, is this going to actually work? And oh my gosh, and watching the numbers and It's been really exciting and it's been challenging and it's been all of this. And I've been really trying hard to stay present in the moment of actually just creating this podcast with you.
Yeah.
And not trying to rush into what is this supposed to be? Where is this supposed to go? What is the purpose of this? Why are we making where is this going to be in 2 years? I don't want to know because right now I'm just meant to be recording this with you, enjoying the process, enjoying being with my best friend 1 to 2 hours every single week, recording it and just being here and letting this be created and being on this journey and just being where I'm at.
And the why around this podcast has been so enjoyable because I feel like we created this as a tool for other people that have questions to go here and just have something that's like a topic, because we get a lot of questions in our lives that's in like a 5-second question where I'm like, nope, like let's deep dive on this mother liquor. Let's get so much we can into that like an hour so you guys walk away feeling like you're empowered. And that why is really just empowerment, right? We want to empower you guys in a like 40 to an hour podcast to feel like your loved ones are near, you are fully capable of doing what we're doing. Like we want you to do that. But to circle back, Dana Willey, we missed a big why. We missed a big why on the unfoldment. And that is we have an opportunity around teaching other people. And I think like when you were talking about like, oh, like my why, I wish I could enjoy it. Like we get a chance to watch other people's whys unfold every single week. Oh. And we get a chance to watch people grow and the lights turn on. Oh my God, those moments when the light bulbs start to click and you see the little sparks and the light bulb's not fully on, but you see it. You're like, come on, you're almost there. But that is a huge why of what we do as teachers is to watch people just get to do something amazing.
Yeah.
And then just be proud of themselves for it.
Oh, it's so cool. And if you guys don't know, Matt and I run a development circle every Tuesday, all levels for mediums. And it is quite literally our favorite time of the week. It's really brings so much joy to both of us. Like literally we end the Zoom every single week and we look at each other like, oh my God, that was so fun. That was so amazing.
No, let me be honest. Okay, let's be real. I always get on. So we get on before our class, about like 15 minutes before, where we argue about what song we're gonna play.
Yes,
we play the song, and then the last thing I always say before Dana, we start the class is Dana, hard stop. And then we end up going through our class. We finish on time. I get my ass off of it like an hour and a half later.
Every time. So he stops. Actually, the last few weeks you've stopped saying hard stop because there's just no reason for you to say it.
It doesn't exist. The limit does not exist.
Yes.
But that is a lot of our whys, because we get so caught up in just recapping and just being like, these people did so phenomenal, and just every single week watching them just grow and grow and grow. And mediumship is not easy. It is supposed to be easy. It's supposed to.
It's simple, not
hard.
easy.
I just want to say the word hard. Simple, yet not easy, right? Because we overthink it and we get in the way, and then we're looking at other people in comparison, and we lose our why in development really easily. But I think when we get that safe space where they can ask questions and they can be like, oh, this is why I want to do it, and their whys are ever changing every single week. They're like, I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
That is really fun to watch them be like, okay. But then when they give a fire reading, like, because me and you bounce in and we'll watch them read and hold space for their development. When they get that reading where the other person starts to cry and they're like, this is why I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this person's just walking out of this room feeling like 20 pounds lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's such a cool feeling. And I know it sounds egoic to be like, I want to do that every single time. But it's really, if you could let everybody walk out of your vicinity 20 pounds emotionally lighter, wouldn't that be like the best thing
It's
ever?
the best feeling ever. But you know, I feel like I think it's a fair exchange. If I'm honest, I think it's a fair exchange for us to show up and surrender, and because that's part of the surrender process, is being uncomfortable. It's the trust fall of like, I know, Spirit, I know you got me. I know that if I get out of the way, there's going to be beautiful things delivered, and I'm going to get comfortable in the uncomfortableness of it all and just deliver whatever. I think that's a beautiful energy exchange for being uncomfortable as the medium, to get that little payoff of knowing that you help somebody.
So I just want to like, let's I think we kind of understand the why now, right? We got it. Let's talk about what your favorite parts about being a medium are. Let's toot our horns for a little bit, because sometimes we need to stroke our ego a little to just be like, hey, let's just talk about the things that we really like about like a mediumship reading. So I'll go first.
Do it.
Platform mediumship.
Oh my God.
I fucking love platform mediumship. I am so in love with it, Dana. I want to orgasm all over the stage all the time. Like, I'm not really literally.
And then we have to get a mop.
But it is literally the most awesome thing to be able to give a reading in front of a lot of people and just have them walk away being like, my loved one's okay now too. Or they cry for the other person, not crying for themselves, but crying for the other person because we just provided them with evidence that is now okay, of being like, hey, remember last Tuesday when you dropped your spoon down the garbage disposal and it kind of like almost, and the lady's like, yes, oh my God. Like, how could I have known that? Yeah. And then having the audience just walk out really moved. Like, that's a gift to be able to do.
It's such an honor. And I'm with you. You and I align so much on this. Like, whether it's platform or doing readings on TikTok or, you know, obviously platform we've done on Zoom, that sort of thing too. But doing it in a group and not only moving and helping the individual getting the reading, but moving the room and having, like, when you feel spirit in the room, when you feel it in the room, there is just, it's so big. We coined the term love bombs. I'm going to trademark it. I think it was you and me that coined the term love bomb.
Are people using it on TikTok now?
I don't know, but just in case it gets big.
Like wildfire. Is it fetch?
It's real fetch. In case it gets big, it started here.
Okay.
But feeling that love bomb just like spread through the room is it's like, so there's nothing sweeter. There's nothing more amazing in the world to feel. I think one of my favorite things, and it goes really very much with what you said, is bringing forward the personality of somebody. When I get to feel who somebody was, and I always feel that it's such an honor to be able to bring forth the personality of somebody's loved one. And I love when they give like inside jokes, or like I hear their giggle. I get that a lot. They'll share with me how they giggled, or a funny joke, or their sense of humor, or their personality, if they were outgoing, or I'll hear their voice if they were really loud, or if they were just kind of shy, whatever it is, feeling their personality, what made them them. Because both of you and I are evidential mediums. So we will bring forward dates, we'll bring forward ways of passing and all of these different facts and figures and whatever. But there's nothing sweeter to me than feeling the essence of who somebody is and then sharing who that person was with the audience and validating that with the sitter. That fills my heart.
I love bringing imperfect people forward.
Ooh.
Just to be like, hey, because, I think, I don't know if it's like a me against religion thing where I'm like, meh. But when you bring an imperfect person forward that has struggled in this life to not be the best person, but at least to know that they cross over, and you're just kind of like, wow, there's hope for all of us. And you walk out being like, well, not that I'm just going to intentionally go do bad stuff, but a little bit of forgiveness for yourself of not carrying that dogma of feeling like you owe somebody something other than just maybe forgiving yourself a little bit more and making amends with others if you can. But just making peace with yourself to be a good person and do your best every day. Show the fuck up. Show up anytime you can. Now I'm going to ask you a question, Dana.
Well, I have one more thing. Hold on to that question.
No,
because
go ahead.
because I also wanted to, coupling onto that, I want to talk about the intelligence of spirit, especially in a platform setting, how there can be a theme like that, whether it was maybe the person was an alcoholic, or maybe there was suicide, or there was something like that in the way of this person's passing. That theme can touch multiple people in that platform or in that demonstration. And even though it's not, the reading wasn't for them, they can get healing from hearing that their loved one's okay too.
Yeah, especially if they lead similar lives. Mm-hmm. That's like
that's that ripple effect.
I like how you said themes. I think on one podcast I said I had an apology tour. What tour has been this week for you?
Oh God, there was a suicide tour.
Yeah,
this week for me.
Yeah, mine was a daddy issue tour.
Yeah, where when we say this, it's like there will be themes that will come up in readings where it's like every single reading is about something, and it's not something intentionally. It's what spirit works through us, and like I said, spirit is very intelligent and will work through us in our readings to bring forward the messages that not only the person we're reading for needs to hear, but that a whole room of people needs to hear.
So to pivot a little bit, what do you feel like if you could take away something from me that, not to compare, but that you're actively working on, what would it be?
The deepening of evidence.
Okay. I thought it was going to be the art skills.
Listen,
I'm just kidding.
That is never going to happen. I know, like anything is possible with spirit, right? Don't limit limitless potential. I'm going to go with the one that I think is more that I
deepening
can grab.
Deepening the evidence.
Yeah,
okay.
I would
I
like
didn't
to.
know if you were gonna...
I really I'm always in awe and just amazed at how deep you go with your evidence, and that's something that is on my wish list with spirit to help further deepening my evidence.
What are you actively doing to work on it?
I go slow things down a little bit more, and that's kind of what I'm working on. Describing more, and slowing things down.
I'm gonna give you a sweetie for that.
Thanks, Twi Daddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. For you, I would say I am trying to put more heart into my readings. Of really just, you have this beautiful way of connecting to the person that you're reading for, where you're just kind of like, and it's genuine. It's not like you're like, oh, honey, you're really like, I get it. I understand what you're feeling. You slow down, you connect with them. You could get lost in evidence all to the cows come home, but you stop more often to just be like, are you okay? Do you need me to go forward? What can I do to empower you in this moment? Do you need a minute? And your clients walk out being like, I think I just made a best friend. but that's a beautiful, rare thing. That's not normal. And don't you fucking cry. Don't you get teary-eyed. I see you doing it. But that is something that I'm working towards. So we can all help each other at the end of the day. But it's all going back to the why that we're doing things. Because the why is never to be somebody else. It's to be your authentic you, the best way that you can, every single day, by showing up for the spirit world. With that being said, Dana, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think just showing up and whenever you're lost, I literally have my why written down. I have my why written down. And I know...
post it?
In my journal.
Oh, okay.
In my journal, I do. But whenever I am feeling lost, because I want to reiterate again, being a medium and stepping forward into this life and into development and doing this professionally is not an easy decision to make.
No.
And sometimes we have to go back and say, why am I doing this? Does this why still resonate with me? And it's okay to change our why. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to do whatever. But whenever you're feeling lost, whenever you're feeling your ego is overinflated, underinflated, return back to your why. Why do you do this? Why are you even putting yourself through the paces? And it's amazing to me what a reset button it is.
Mm-hmm. I love a good why reset. It's always good to do.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a mediumship thing. I don't know. Horrible singer. Well, with that being said, Dana, I don't think there's anything more that we can talk about why we do the things that we do of the why. So why ask why? So with that being said, I love you all. You're in our hearts. And Dana, take it away.
You are the light of 100,000 suns. You are the light. We love you. Thank you for your support.
Yes, we love you all. Goodbye, everybody. Bye. Do something nice for somebody. Bye.